Research methods, assignment 4, Patrick O'Halloran, OHA 18001642. Legal and ethical issues. BASES is an acronym standing for British Association of Sport and Exercise Scientists. The role of BASES in research methods, or research in general, is to govern and police sport and exercise science research in the UK. They ensure that all research is legal and ethical. And in order to do this, they produce a code of conduct, and this is kind of sort of what helps to ensure that everything is legal and ethical when doing research. The two main points in the code of conduct are informed consent and confidentiality. And we'll just go through informed consent first. So as you can see on the slide here, informed consent is how participants agree to take part in the research. It's required as part of the investigation. It's a legal document that protects the researcher and the participant as well, because it allows them to know exactly what they're doing, and it's kind of ensures the safety of both parties. So they both know that they're both on the same page. They know exactly what protocol is going to happen in the research, so that participants not kind of caught off guard, or the researcher, isn't exploited because the participant can't say, "Oh, I didn't know what was going on," because the informed consent makes sure that they do know exactly what they're doing. This is an example of what an informed consent form might look like. So it only includes necessary information, the things that are relevant to the study. Sorry. So it'll have your name, age, date of birth, gender, like the name of the investigation. As you can see, there says name of test and the protocol that's followed. So this outlines everything that's going to happen in the research, so the exact details of it, and also the potential risks and benefits to the research. So this just allows the participant to know exactly what's going to happen when they take part. It'll also include a checkbox section enabling the participant to agree or not agree to partake in certain sections of the research. A statement section that kind of says that they can drop out at any time. They have the option to opt out or to say no to any part of the research. And also a statement that confirms that any data that they give to the researcher will remain completely confidential. As it says there on this example, it's protected under the Data Protection Act 1998. And at the bottom there's also a section where the participant and the researcher must sign and date, so that it's all legally kind of verified and nothing can go wrong. So that was informed consent, the first part of the code of conduct. The next part is confidentiality. And confidentiality is the bit where only information relevant to the study is published. For example, names are not relevant as they make the participant identifiable, but gender and age may be necessary. Codes are sometimes used to help ensure everything remains confidential. So like they might use little code words that only the participant and the researcher know mean such and such, so that people kind of that want to find out, maybe they can't because this code's been put in place to stop them from getting information that is private and that is protected under the Data Protection Act. As you said there, since the Data Protection Act 1998, all data is stored safely and securely, so it cannot be accessed by anyone who wants to. This includes being stored in locked filing cabinets where random people can't just come and take the information. It has to be a verified person who's allowed to access that data. And electronic data is password protected at all times. So now we'll move on to the implications of not working legally or ethically. And there are three kind of main implications. So the first one being civil or legal action, second being tribunals, and the third is kind of what measures can be put in place by BASES to prevent future research. So first of all, we're going to look at civil or legal action. So what is legal and civil action? Well, if a researcher does not work legally or ethically, they leave themselves kind of open or at risk to legal action. This is kind of a way that participants can make sure they're protected, as they have the ability to take researchers to a tribunal. And we'll go through tribunals later on in the slide. For example, a researcher uses a different protocol than what is outlined in the informed consent. So they might in the protocol, they might say it's non-invasive, there's nothing, we're not allowed to touch it at all. But then when it comes down to actually the research, it turns out that the protocol is invasive. And if the participant isn't comfortable with this, then they can make a complaint and take the researchers to tribunal and take action against this person working either illegally or unethically. So there's some advantages and some disadvantages to civil or legal action. I'll go through the advantages first. So this action allows participants to feel safe when involved in research. They have that kind of safety net, that safety mechanism that they can fall back on if they feel they've been exploited or treated badly in any way. It also allows research to be more trustworthy because that the exact protocol's been followed, and the researcher themselves can be more trustworthy because they haven't been taken, no action's been taken against them. Therefore, the research stands to be valid and trustworthy. It also stops researchers from working illegally and ethically. Simple as that, really. It's kind of a way that the researcher can be warned: if you do this or do that, work unethically or illegally, there will be action taken against you. However, there are a few disadvantages. Researchers that may be completely innocent might make a simple mistake and they can be prosecuted. This could result in them being banned from research, and it wouldn't be fair because it's just a simple mistake. Also, another disadvantage on the other side of it: participants might not know how to how to take action. So there's a little spelling mistake there. But this is a disadvantage because not everybody knows how to, the system, the law kind of system, and how to take action. So if they want to, they might think, I don't know how, there's no point, I can't be bothered. And then nothing will be done, and the researcher could continue to make the same mistakes or continue to consciously work unethically or illegally. The next implication we're going to go through is tribunals. And this is basically just a court of justice, organised and run by BASES. So they'd set it up and make sure it all runs smoothly and everything that needs to be done will be done. It's kind of a trial for researchers not working legally or ethically. And the result could be restrictions on the researcher preventing future research. So it's basically just like a court of law, a court of justice, rather for researchers, for the BASES set up. So anything kind of dodgy happening in the sports science department in the UK can be dealt with in this separate court rather than it going to a normal court of law that deals with crime. Again, so there are advantages and disadvantages to this implication, so tribunals. I'll go through the advantages again. First of all, it makes sure that research is trustworthy. So again, if researchers are taken to court to go through a tribunal process, and then it comes out that they have worked in a certain way that isn't acceptable according to BASES, then the research can be discarded. Or on the other side of it, it could come out that they've done nothing wrong, and the research is proven trustworthy. And if this is the case, the same research can be reused, so that it wouldn't have to be redone in an ethical or legal way if it's already been done in a manner that's acceptable. This allows sporting performance to be improved because research is more reliable. If we know that nothing wrong has happened when the research has taken place, then it's can be used to benefit sports performers in order to benefit their performance. And it also helps reputations of British universities. The more reliable and trustworthy the research done in the UK is, and specifically in the universities, the more the higher esteem they can build, and that will help them draw people from all around the world because people will look at them and say, well, they're reliable and they've got a good thing going on. Disadvantages to this tribunal process is that they can take a long time to begin. So researchers can do the research and it could take months and months before it can be proven or disproven to be trustworthy, because they are a long process. They also cost money, and if someone hasn't got the money to prosecute or whatever they want to do, then it just can't happen. And if an unethical researcher, so someone who is genuinely consciously making bad decisions with research, has a good defense, they can get away with it, and then obviously that makes research that is kind of has been proven trustworthy, in inverted commas, but it's actually not. It kind of dirties the pool of research, so that's not good. And then also someone who is innocent may be found guilty. It can happen that someone who's not done anything wrong is, found guilty of something that maybe they weren't even conscious of themselves, or just basically a good researcher could be thrown out for something they haven't done. And also, if your research is based on another researcher's work, it can be thrown away. So if the researcher that is being investigated, if their work is proven to be unethical or illegal, then if you've done work yourself based on their work, then your work, for want of a better word, is completely invalid and has to be thrown. An example of when a tribunal is needed, just to go back to that, would be if confidentiality is not kept, or your data is used in advertisement, for example. The researcher hasn't stuck to that confidentiality, then a tribunal would have to be taken to resolve the issue. The final implication would be measures taken to prevent future research. And effectively, these are punishments to discourage illegal or unethical behaviour. They can range from fines to temporary or permanent suspensions, and how harsh the punishments are will always depend on how bad the actions of the researchers were. So if I just move on quickly, sorry about this. Just going back to how harsh the actions and the punishments are, kind of reflect how bad the actions are. For example, if a researcher used equipment that had not been correctly maintained and this led to injury, they may be banned for life. Or on the kind of smaller side of the scale, if a researcher use a different protocol or use a different chemical that they put in the protocol, and this led to illness or something along those lines, then that could result in a fine or a ban as well. So the advantages to this is it allows trust in research to be attained. Again, this is kind of a theme running through all of the implications, that they all just allow trust to be gained. If research is found to be untrustworthy, then these measures to prevent future research can stop the researchers who are unethically or illegally working to do more research. Skilled researchers who might have made mistakes can be rehabilitated, and by this I mean everyone makes mistakes, and some really skilled researchers might make a mistake and use the wrong chemical or use equipment they might just have forgotten to maintain. And this doesn't mean that they're unethical or consciously working illegally, so having a punishment allows them to kind of better themselves and come out on the other side being better researchers. Again, it protects the reputation of British universities, just making sure that that the research is trustworthy and reliable allows universities to kind of promote their sports science research as some of the best in the world. And also, a sense of justice can be found if people feel like a researcher shouldn't be doing the research they are, and then these measures are put in place and they get banned or fined, then justice has been served, really. Like, they have been punished for their actions. And then just go through the disadvantages. World-class researchers may receive a permanent ban. So all it would take is one mistake or one bit of laziness, and a really top quality researcher could be banned forever, and that would obviously not be good for research in general. Big companies won't be affected by a small fine. So a big company, a worldwide company, if they get fined a little bit, they won't mind. And also, overly severe punishments can sometimes be given out, so they might be deemed too harsh.